One's a former NFL star turned esports coach.
But I was getting the stink eye from my wife. She's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing."
And one's a dad who can't stop playing Rocket League.
These kids these days, they're like, blah, 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 blah. We're used to jump and run.
Together, they welcome you to Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge.
Welcome to Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. I'm your host, Ahman Green, and this is your spot for fun. I say fun in the sun, sun in the fun in the sun, but also video games and a lot of fun other stuff of conversation that we'll have today. So this is your weekly getaway to your latest news and hottest game releases, game release updates. I'll say game release. This one game today. In-depth discussions with some of my industry good friends that we have on today's show with our guests. And whether you're a casual gamer or a hardcore esports fan, my Gamers Lounge is something for you and everyone. So grab your controller, settle in, and join us as we dive into the dynamic world of gaming. And so right now, I'm rolling solo. So John and Enrique, they got to do their real jobs, but they'll be back. We'll see them again. But they are covering, I know John is covering Wisconsin women's volleyball, and I believe that's Rico too. He's covering Nebraska women's volleyball and a little bit of football here, this, that, and the other. So they are off on a hiatus, but they'll be back. But I got some fun stuff, but really not really fun stuff. I say it was a chill weekend. I watched, NFL, college football. Saw some of the teams that should have lost win, and vice versa. I did go to the movie theater, had a good time with a good friend and his son. He's about 5, and we saw Transformers 1 in the theaters. And so I had to teach him a little lesson, which was a good learning thing, was the fact because they went to see it previous week when it first came out, and they didn't stay to watch the credits. And if you watch a cartoon movie, a comic book movie, anything to do with cartoons or anime, you got to stay and watch the credits roll till the end to see what little surprise the writers or the director of the movie, of the franchise, has decided to say, hey, here you go. And so, of course, Transformers 1 had that at the end. So there are end credit scenes at the end of Transformers 1. If you have not seen it already, please go treat yourself. If you're a Transformer fan, you better go see it. It's fun to watch. I say a prequel of going where you see somebody that I say two main characters that at one point were friends. I always wondered about that too, about the characters. I don't want to give it away. So I'm gonna say about the characters that are friends and eventually become enemies, or they're frenemies. It's just interesting. I always wondered that, if it was ever that time where they were just average Transformers, Autobots, or whatever they were called. They had a certain species that they were named before they became Autobots and Decepticons. So that was discovered too in watching Transformer 1. So check that out. Again, watching Madden, watching college football, but then playing Madden, I'm liking I'm liking the new Madden ranking system in there, where it shows you like as you win games, if you win a game, I don't know if they're going off like how many points you win or how good your gameplay is, but you still win. You know how many points you get when you win. But I'm over 2,600. That puts me in Hero 1 class as a ranking. So I'm like, okay, at least I know now and where I'm at. Back I think last year. Madden was only just a number, like it was 1,500 points or whatever. But now you got that actual, you have a symbol and a name to it, Hero 1, 2, and 3, all the way up to like, I don't know what the end level is. Anybody in the chat, if you play Madden, you know what I'm talking about. Whatever that high level is, let us know here in the show today. But yeah, done that. And playing college football too. You know, I'm watching it, I'm playing it, I'm doing all the stuff that I love to do. And also, yeah, see, like my man Average Historian says, I've been watching so much Tekken today. Yeah, I'm a Tekken guy too. Actually, so I will be lining up some shoutcasting with Tampa Never Sleep. So TNS. Their stream on Twitch, I think 7 days a week. They have all the fighting game titles that they produce competitions on, and it's on Twitch. I think it starts usually Central Time, like 8 o'clock Central Time. It goes until midnight or later. So TNS is awesome. They have all the fighting games, the ones that I know right off the top of my head: Super Mario Brothers, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Guilty Gear, and I think Skullgirls and a few others. And so they do that. So I shoutcasted Tekken 8 probably like 2-3 weeks ago now, and I'm looking to get in a rotation of shoutcasters to come on that show and check it out because I love video games and I'm good. I'm definitely good at I love my my Tekken, so I play it and getting a chance to cast it, but also I can always get better at other games. So Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, games that I know about, and I can learn more how to bring it as a good commentary, come in as a good color person on it, or play by play, you know, or we kind of work the same. That's how fighting games work. Is really not really, unless you have a distinct person, which they do. I think Justin Wong, who's really, really good at Marvel and Camp versus Capcom, he's on there all the time casting. And I don't know if he plays, but I know he casts a lot. So there you go. So what's up, Average Historian? How you doing? Aikido and Cowboy Natty all in the house today. And I just realized something here with the chat. Zippered Straw and Aikido, and I don't know if Average Historian is a part of this. They're like racing to be the first one in line in the chat to say good, to say hello. So I like that. Appreciate that. That means we've been doing a good show for a long time, and now that you guys, the fans, have been basically like as soon as 2 o'clock hits, like who's the first in there to be on the stream or in the chat. I like that. That's fun. That cheers me up a little bit here. So let's get on to our special guest. He's been sitting in the studio long enough. We had a good talk before he got here or before he came on. He's about to come on now. And we've been working together all of this year pretty much. We've done a few events together. We've been knowing each other from distance, and we kind of work with the same company but didn't get a chance to really connect with that company, or say with each other through that company, because he'll mention it, you know, here in a little bit here. But a good friend of mine now, and I say co-worker, we'll be working on some things coming down the line, and he is full of spunk. I'll say that. So so if you guys are driving in the car, make sure your seatbelt's on, and maybe turn your stereo down, because you're gonna hear him clearly. He's a great shoutcaster, commentator, and does some fun stuff with people that I work with and I kind of work with. So let me bring in my man here, Logan Summit. What's up, Logan, man? How you doing?
Yo, what is going on, man? I am absolutely fantastic.
I told you got to turn that volume down. He's already ramped up already, y'all.
I wake up like that. Seriously, I get up every morning and I'm like, let's go. I mean, look, when I used to work with bands, I used to always tell them, no one's going to come into your living room and offer you a record contract. So you got to go out there, you got to get it done, and you got to be excited about it. No one wants to hear somebody meander. Hello, how are you today? It's very good to have you here.
Especially in the video game space.
I'm sure there's a niche for that as well. But I'm not that. I'm hyped up. I'm excited, and I'm really excited to be here with my friend Ahman Green. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Logan. So yeah, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. And like, you've done these before, right? You've been in interviews where you led the interview. So there's nothing I'm preaching to the choir here. But we still, for the audience, for the chat, for the people watching, we still got to obviously do our thing and describe and tell our stories. And so for yourself coming in, being a shoutcaster that you are today, like, where did this start? What was the inspiration or people or person or even tournament that got you going in this,
to be honest
in this career?
To be honest with you, it all goes back to radio. And kids, if you don't know what radio is, Google Marconi right now, and they'll tell you. But yeah, it all went back to radio. Look, I used to manage bands, and I was about 19 years old, and I started going on radio shows to promote these bands. And these radio shows, instead of having the bands on, they would have me come back. And I was able to use that to get myself a radio gig. And then I was doing live sports updates on ESPN, and I was known as the funny guy because, I got to tell you, those Eastern European hockey names are very hard to pronounce. And when you're live,
for sure.
And when you're live, you can't stop. So you just got to run with it. I've got 2 minutes to fill, whether you like it or not. So I was given an opportunity to try out for the Jack Show with Jason Jackson, who now does play-by-play for the Miami Heat. And I was in a room with 3 individuals, 2 other individuals going for the job, and they were sports nerds, and they were really good at that. They could tell you what Mike Schmidt ate for breakfast in 1984 before he batted.
I have friends like that. Yes, I have friends like that.
Like, they could read the back of a baseball card and memorize it. Those kinds of people. Now, I'm not that person. So Jason said, I need you to tell me your name and why I should hire you. And these two guys who came before me, they said the perfect thing that they thought they should say in that interview. And I went off the reservation, okay? Yeah. I looked at Jason and I said, my name's Summit, and I'm prettier than these two mother.
Okay.
And I could have lost it. That could have been the end of my career right there, right?
Yeah.
And he just looks at me and he looks at the other two. He goes, you two can leave. And I got the job.
You brought something to the game. You brought something that was, like I said, spontaneous. What's the other word? Boisterous, all that stuff, loud. That is what you see in radio for sure. I say what you hear in radio because you don't see unless you're in.
Well, we were one of the first shows to actually ever be simulcast.
Oh, okay.
To a point where they didn't know how to do it. So So
it was a podcast before it was podcasting.
Yeah, it was weird when we would go to commercial breaks. If it was a national commercial, it would play through. But if it was a local commercial, you could just hear us in the background just talking to each other. We called it the Jack Show Underground.
Oh, man.
I had so much fun, and I learned so much from Stuart, Jason, Chris, Ian, everybody on that show. I was able to parlay that into a pretty good sports career. Yeah. And then I took off for a while. And here's where it comes into play. It's because I didn't want to be a streamer, but I wanted to get into esports.
Got it.
And my friends in radio and TV said, we don't understand it, but don't you miss being creative on a regular basis?
Yeah.
And that's what brought me back into it. So I started streaming, and then people noticed that
what games were you streaming?
Call of Duty. It was pandemic. So it was Call of Duty.
Okay.
Yeah. So I tried to figure out how to stream circa 2018 because I'm old. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So it took me until the pandemic where I could just plug my camera into the back of the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm 46. This is perfect for me. I got this.
Yes.
So once people got used to seeing me around, they noticed that I had those 4 little letters in my resume, ESPN.
Of course.
And that pretty much gets you through the door.
Attention. Yeah, that'll grab anybody's attention. And by the way, you mentioned Stuart. You're referring to Stuart Scott.
Of course. He was one of my mentors.
Knows in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuart Scott, one of the greatest people of all time.
Yeah, I met him once or twice. Great dude.
If you're not familiar with him, just look up a highlight reel. He created some of the vernacular that we still use today. Cooler than the other side of the pillow. Booyah. Booyah is straight up Stuart Scott.
Yes.
When he was on the show, I used to make intros for everybody who was a regular on the show. And I used the booyah from Saturday Night Live where they were making fun of him. Instead of his booyah, we get off the air the first time he heard it. And one of the interns comes in and goes, Stuart would like to talk to Summit. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, what you doing?
He loved it.
I was like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, you used the Saturday Night Live clip, didn't you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I heard it. That's good. But can you put me in it? I'm the one who said booyah. I want the credit for it, man.
I would love that. I love that because
incredible guy.
When you're being made fun of on SNL, you made it. Okay?
Yo, you are there, right?
You are there. Yeah,
you are there. Stuart, one time, one of my favorite quotes, or one of the best learning moments from him was the first time I was ever a quote unquote celebrity at a golf tournament, and they gave us money, like straight cash, as we checked in to spend at the Mohegan Sun.
In the esports space, we rarely see the cash, but it's there.
No.
It's there.
So I don't know what the look on my face between my girlfriend at the time and I was, but I got a hand on my shoulder and a whisper in my ear from Stuart Scott, and he just said, act like you've been here before, kid.
Yes, you got to do that. That's what I say to my wife when we go to a nightclub in a city that we haven't been in. I'm like, hey, babe, when you go by to just act like you've been here. You good. We'll be straight. We'll walk in.
You can walk into anywhere with a clipboard and a sense of purpose, right?
And if you have the attitude, like you're talking to the bouncer at the door, like, hey man, I know so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. They want to hear it. They wanted us here at 8:00 and it's 8:05. You got to let us in. You have that confidence behind your voice, then it works. It works.
So now somebody comes to me with an opportunity to do esports, and they say, hey, we need somebody on our desk. It's a Wednesday. The tournament is on a Saturday. There's guaranteed to be about 5,000 concurrent viewers. It's a stack up tournament. It's going to be huge. Right, yeah. Do you know anything about VR or Onward? And I said, isn't that an animated movie with Spider-Man? Is that? And they said no.
I thought it's a Disney movie, isn't it?
It was at one point. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, I believe, were in it.
Were the voices,
And they said, that's not funny. And I said, I'm not joking. And they said, can you do it? And I said, yes, because at ESPN, we were taught to take stuff that we don't necessarily understand or know and learn it, regurgitate it to the viewers and make it make sense. So I've been there before. Kenny Mayne and I used to have to do horse racing after Goldberg died. And you know what? We love to watch some ponies run with a drink in our hand, but really, do we know anything about them? Nah. Right. So I was given the opportunity and I crushed it. And that's the most important thing that Stuart, Jason, and everybody else taught me was come over prepared. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Jennifer Lopez. She says, the sexiest I feel on stage is when I'm my most prepared. And I have never shown up to an esports or a sports gig and thought to myself, wow, I really over prepared for this one.
No, you never say that when you know you're ready. Now you'll say, "Oh my God, I didn't read enough, or I didn't study enough, or I didn't look at a replay of a game so I could see how the game flow goes." Like when you're doing that, then you may have a little problem. But if you quick with it, then you could get away with it. And I say for both of us, we've done it long enough. So if they for some reason like our flight got delayed and we couldn't get to the internet soon enough, we're good enough. If you get to a point where you're good enough, I won't recommend it, but sometimes it happens. You might have to shoot from the hip. So.
Well, one of the weird things about this esports community is when I first got here, everybody said when I was going for casting gigs, they said, what's your game? What's your game? What's your game? I was like, always. Joe Buck doesn't play any games, but he gets paid like $2 million to talk about him. So I bring entertainment, energy, and enthusiasm to each and every single broadcast I am a part of. And for the most part in this universe of esports and sports, there you go. Booyah, baby. It works out well because if you know the games well enough, if you spend a little bit of time with them and you just have fun with it, have fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, come prepared, but then at the end of the day, it's esports or it's sports that you're commentating. And it's always some fun in that area. Maybe if you're play-by-play for CNN stocks rolling or something, that's different. That's business. You may not want to crack a joke every now and then, unless you're super savvy. And I've listened commentators in all aspects of if it's sports, if it's business, and there's some ones that are if you're clever, if you got it. I know I don't have it. I'm not super clever. Every now and then I get lucky. I stumble into something. Somebody gives me a steak platter of a softball pitch, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to hit this out the park. and then I hit it. So for yourself, Logan, what's been some of the biggest learning lessons to where you are right now?
Well, I got to tell you, showing up early. Really,
So you already said over prepare now. Showing up early is number 2.
Showing up early. Here's the thing: is I actually got sidelined from my career. A producer and I did not get along, and I was late, 7 minutes late twice, and I got derailed.
Was it back to back?
No, they weren't back to back, but that's a little bit longer story.
Right,
the point is now I am 7 minutes early to everything that I do. That happened when I was in my that was a good 20 years ago when that happened. Okay.
Right, so you were young.
Still to this day. Oh, I was very young. Still to this day, though, if I'm 7 minutes early, that's me being on time.
Yes. That's how I am. I know.
And getting out of your own way, being able to listen to advice. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Some of my best friends here in Vegas are 23-year-old content creators, and they give me some of the best advice that I have ever had. And they were shocked when I first started using their advice. They were like, dude, you're an old guy who's been around. You've been on ESPN. I go, if you can't get out of your own way to take someone's good advice, you will never be successful.
Exactly. You got to do that. I got a question from the chat here. Super Ryan wants this question. This is my 2 favorite guys. Oh, wait a minute. No, not that one.
I love him too, though.
Any advice for someone starting out as a commentator in esports?
Yes. You know what? I've got great advice for you, because very often I find myself taking gigs where I haven't necessarily casted that game before, or maybe only done it once or twice. This is the best way you can do it. I want you to go into your living room, your bedroom, wherever you have your TV. I want you to watch a broadcast, a professional broadcast of the game that you are looking to get involved with.
I know where you're going with this one. I've done.
Then I want you to turn the sound off, and I want you to play it back, and I want you to stand in your living room, your bedroom, or wherever you are, and cast to the TV.
Yeah. Yep. It's huge.
It is. It's huge. One of the things about casting is always, it's not about the game. It's about you and the presentation that you bring forth.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I've never played the game before. I can come up with something that's going to be interesting to the audience. And if you can't find something interesting to the audience, pose a question to your co-caster who might know more about the game. Because 100%. If you're asking the question, chances are there's a viewer that's asking it too.
Exactly. And I did that to my first one of my first Madden castings I did with Larry Ridley. I don't know if you crossed paths. Have you crossed paths with Larry?
A little bit. Familiar.
Yeah, you know of him. So he started a Madden series that he's still doing now. It's called Compete Forever, a Madden tournament for semi-pros to pros play in it. And it was my first time doing it in Times Square, but BW3s in Times Square. And to what you just said, I watched all his casts before I got to New York. I watched like a week worth of stuff. And so I knew his timing. I knew he was kind of like you, very, loud. And then I'm more calm, cool, collective. But what I did know, what I observed about all this casts, and I had watched like 20 or 30 casts within a 2-week period. He had never once mentioned the mechanics of the game of Madden. And so I already had that in my notes. And then when I got there, we rehearsed, we did some dry runs. And I said, Larry, is it okay if I go here? And I showed him my notes, and he's like, oh my God. You know what? He said, I don't even have time for all that. So I don't even get into that. So knock it out the park, bro. I'm like, appreciate it. And so I was on there breaking it down, A buttons for snapping the ball or throwing to the A receiver. So giving that audience another layer of information. Because like you said, you got somebody in the audience that either on the stream or in person or in the chat. That's the mom, the dad, the friend. And they don't know Madden. They just know of the game because they watching it because their best friend is playing or their brother's playing or their sister's playing, something like that.
Like I always say, your brother, sister's, uncle's, cousin's, nephew's, daughter's roommate who just showed up for the first time is going to need some lessons on the game.
Yes,
Look, if I brought you to an NHL game 4 times, 4 days in a row, but I never explained the rules to you, then I hand you a ticket for the 5th day and go, you have to go by yourself. Do you show up? No, you don't
Probably
show
not.
up. You
Probably
don't know
not.
anything about the game. Look, the one thing that ESPN has done over the years really good with esports
Mhm.
is their ability to be able to break down into the most simplistic verbiage that you can for the audience video games, because it's not that easy to break down a video game in 2 minutes. But you
No.
know what?
No,
ESPN
it's
does it all the time. So I know
Yeah.
I know we as casters can do it as well. Oh,
Yeah.
and the other thing I want to point out, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, don't pigeonhole yourself into one game.
No,
You
do
are
all
better
of them.
than one game. One game is silly. It's
Yes.
that's mind-blowing to me that people would just focus on one game. Focus on you, your presentation, and how you as a caster or a broadcast professional bring something different to the table.
You know, you got to do that. And I started picking up on that when I started coaching my first year at Lakeland University back in 2020. And halfway through the year, I connected with Eric. I can't remember his last name right now, but it's Eric Doa. He's a big caster for League of Legends.
I know who
And
it is.
he was at he hit me up through, I think, I DM somewhere, and he wanted, because his school, he's from Minnesota originally, Minneapolis, and he was at the university, one of the small colleges there, where he was the caster, coach / production guy when he was in the States. And if not, he was over in Korea, shoutcasting League of Legends. And so he hits me up and he's like, Ahman, you want to do a little friendly, like, off-season competition with your League of Legends team to our League of Legends team. And then during the conversation, we somehow got on this subject of what we do. And he said, I was like, what other games you do? What other, are you just doing League now? He said, no, in the beginning, I literally did everything. And that was already in my brain as a thing to do, because it just makes sense, right? Because I remember, and then I'll flash back to another person that you'll definitely know of and respect, James Brown, the commentator that's on CBS. He's the host of the NFL panel. So I went to NFL broadcasting boot camp several times, and it was probably my last time I went, or the third time I went. Third was my third time or last time from going. He brought that up because he started at hockey on CBS back in 1960. So just imagine you're watching a hockey game, you see a big 6'7" black man commentating hockey, and you didn't. And I'm like, I wouldn't have had no clue that he would have been commentating like basketball or football real easy, but he got put on covering the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Pittsburgh Penguins Penguins, or what have you. But it was just like, wow. So yeah, be ready to do whatever to get out there and commentating.
Well, to your point, Tom Brady, probably the greatest of all time.
Yes.
You might have played with him, but you might have played with the greatest of all time. But I think Tom Brady probably is.
Yeah.
Right?
I had a Favre, so I was pretty good with that.
That's what I'm saying. But Favre does hold the record for the most interceptions.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he has a lot of touchdowns too.
He does have a lot of touchdowns. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there too.
No, you were talking about Tom Brady.
Tom Brady has been relegated. Thank you. Tom Brady has been relegated to doing the Cleveland Browns.
Really?
Yes, because his presentation wasn't good enough, and he refused to do the work before getting out there. He would come unprepared. He came unprepared. So they went, all right, Tom, you want to do this? And they stuck him at the Browns Stadium, and he was mad about it. He got a little upset about it.
I wonder if it was an ego trip.
Even if you're Tom Brady,
right,
you got to come prepared.
You better come ready. Unfortunately, I've heard that by his other QB counterpart, Tony Romo, has been reprimanded a few times with what is he on NFL? No, he's not NFL work. He's either Fox or
he was Fox.
TV, about him not being prepared. And it's like, man, it's no different than us when we were playing ball. When we were in that locker room, we got to get ready for practice. We got to be there early. Same thing with the game day. Like I would get 3.5 hours before kickoff. I was in the stadium, and it was me sitting in my locker room with my headsets on, listening to music, but paging through the playbook, looking at my first 15 plays. So the same thing now, I get to a cast. If I'm home, I do it from home. Great. If not, if I'm on the road, I got all my notes from knowing the game characters to knowing their moves to knowing, if it's a fighting game, just checking out all the moves.
Take notes. They're so important. Have you ever seen a broadcast table with nothing in front of it? All right, just because Shaquille O'Neal doesn't read anything doesn't mean that you can. Okay, look, most professional broadcasters have like an iPad and like 4 stacks of papers in front of them
all day. Highlighters. You got a yellow highlighter, a green one, a blue
I use
one.
a pink and a green one. I like pink and green because of the difference of the colors.
Exactly. I do like yellow and blue or something, but I have at least 2 or 3 on me.
When I did NBA 2K, I relegated that entire day to NBA because
was that the first season or second season?
Well, I did just recently. I did it for Next Talent League. We did the very first, after 25 years, we did the very first all women's league.
Oh, awesome. Beautiful.
And so I would spend all day focused on whoever was playing that day and getting all of my notes together, making sure that they were prepared properly in front of me so that I can get to them. It's not enough to just have the notes. You got to organize them so that you understand where everything is. But whenever I show up, you weren't at, I don't think we got to see each other at the Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party.
No, I was there in Super Bowl, but we missed each other.
But I don't think we got to hang out.
No, we didn't.
Because I was casting for 6 hours. But everybody.
I've done that before.
Everybody beside me was like, why do you have this fat stack of papers you're carrying around everywhere I go? I have a bio on every single celebrity that's here.
Yeah.
And they go, what? What do you mean you have a bio? I printed out a bio for every celebrity that's here.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would you do that? I go, because you don't know.
I did that for one of my Madden tournaments I did with Larry. I printed out, I was able to ask him online, and I talked with Kevin. Kevin was another organizer, Kevin Malmuzet, shout out to them, and Compete Forever. I asked, can you give me all the competitor names so I could look them up on social media through their accounts and then get all their, because if they had a funny post or something about that I could mention during the cast, finding this little anecdotes to make the cast more entertaining, because obviously, this as a caster, if it's a blowout, you got to talk about something.
I'll go back to talking about their high school career if I have the information in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And with esports, there's always technical timeouts. By the way, shout out to my show tonight. It's every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 p.m. Eastern on the UEL.
Yeah, I was just about to. That was my next question. So you just said it. So you can repeat it one more time. What you're doing now currently for UEL and any other outlets that you're working for?
So currently I am doing the weekly esports news show on the Ultimate Endgamers League YouTube channel called Technical Timeout. And it's my take on everything that's happening in the Ultimate Endgamers League. And if you don't know what the UEL is,
people that come into my stream, they know what it is.
All right, good. Because it's where gamers go pro. And even you can be a pro and earn money playing video games. Anyone can do it. I mean, that's the best part about it. We just expanded to a hub in Nigeria. There are kids in Nigeria who can walk into a building and try out to see if they can be in the draft of next season's UEL. And we're playing. Well, I can't say how much we're playing for, but I can tell you how much we're playing for this season.
I know the pot is rising since I got with them. I got with them in 2021. So I've been with them for about 3.5-4 years. And I'm working with them too on something for myself and for the league here in Houston, Texas. So just so we know, we're working on something. So a little Easter egg right there for people in the chat and people that want to go pro in the UEL. There you go. So
we could buy a team together and we'll call it the Summits. I'm just saying, I see the vision.
Green Summit, Summit on the horizon.
I'll take it.
So real quick, so you talked about.
So I'm doing the UEL right now.
UEL. Yep.
Technical timeout on Wednesday nights. I'm also doing some casting for them. And currently, I am still doing hype over on Saturdays at the
HyperX Arena. So you're located in Vegas.
I am.
And so let's talk about your area right there. I like it. I like it when I see your Instagram post from Technical Timeout. So what was the inspiration behind all the artwork behind you right now in your casting area?
All right. So a lot of this comes from my radio career and some of my favorite bands and bands that I became friends with. I was really close with Dave Mira, the bike rider. So that's over there.
I've met Dave at a little event there in Vegas years ago. So pretty cool dude.
He was an amazing person.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk's up there. My favorite band, Mest. And you know what? we've got Han Solo, Mike Tyson. You know, just it's movies and things that I found interesting. We've got all my backstage passes are all over here.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I got that on a doorknob to my left over here. So that is like the content creators or casters template for what's behind you, basically. Between
here's
Lego
the thing,
sets and other little contraptions.
Right.
Okay, what's up? What you got? Of course.
So
got it.
So when they need to bring me in,
yep.
I get my camera moved in a little bit, and they bring me right into the cast, right like that.
Hey, you're definitely a pro if you got your green screen. I got my green screen. I'll be picking it up this weekend, so I'll have mine in my room too. So.
And tomorrow I'll be casting for Landfest. So I started doing Scholastic.
That's right. You told me that.
So
say hello to Gary Briggs and his wife as well. Shout out to them.
I did Rocket League last week. This week I'll be doing iRacing. I don't know what schools we're going to be doing. Last week we did
college or high school.
It depends on the week. They don't tell me until the day of.
Gotcha.
But last week we did 2 schools in Indiana, and that was a lot of fun. I love bringing a little bit of hype and entertainment value. I'm sure the high school kids found me a little bit different than their normal casters. And you know what? I got to work with a dude who knew what he was talking about with Rocket League, which makes it easy because I only have to come in and be a personality, and I can do that.
Right. Exactly. So to wrap this thing up, because I don't know if I'm cutting into your time, if you got anything else going on, but a couple more questions. So what would be your biggest I'll stay with the most inspirational thing that a family member or a close friend help you do or help you to the process that you're in right now?
Yeah, you know what? It's going to seem like it wasn't that big of a deal as I tell the story, but
right.
Maybe somebody else will be able to learn it. And it equates to something I mentioned previously as well.
Right.
Merc Anthony. He's the orange guy. He's got his own G Fuel flavor. He's been putting himself on camera every day since he was 10 years old. He's 23 now. When I first got here, we worked together. We had met for the very first time at CES, and I had never been a quote unquote talent by myself at a convention. I had signed autographs for different things and done things like that, but I had never been just out there. And I guess my elevator pitch wasn't good. I didn't know how to present myself like that because I had never been in that position before. So he looked at me and he said, all right, the first sentence out of your mouth needs to be, my name's Logan Summit, formerly of ESPN. And if you start there, you're going to get yourself 3 to 5 minutes where they will listen to what you have to say.
Because once they hear ESPN, they'll listen.
They'll listen, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing that. I was saying everything but that. And he said, you need to learn how to
present. Because you're humble like myself.
You got to, I don't know about that, but thank you for saying so. But basically, he told me you need to learn how to promote yourself. And they showed me how to become a content creator. I didn't know how to do that. They showed me how to edit on my phone with CapCut. I didn't know how to do that. All of these things that I didn't know how to do. At 44, I started a couple of years ago in Vegas. So I moved here when I was 44. For 2 years, I have done nothing but learn from some of the best creators around, and they're all much younger than me. So that being said is learn from the people around you and get out of your own way. Because if I hadn't taken their advice, A, they wouldn't have wanted to be my friends because I would have just seemed like I was too full of myself to listen to them.
Correct.
And B, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Yeah, because you got to always advertise yourself as a content creator, as a commentator, as a shoutcaster. You got to be always on. Sometimes you got to be shooting from the hip, have that phone ready to go, and then able to get a spot. You could notice, oh man, I could capture this right here, and then commentate on it later and edit it, and then get it out to the masses.
We were always so used to having people present for us, agents and managers and everybody. So when we were. By the time we got to shake hands with somebody, they were fully prepared on who we were, what we were all about, and what were our purposes and why we're there to meet. They cut it down to the nitty grit. Well, now you have to step back and you have to get to that point yourself. And that was a really big lesson for me, because I hadn't thought about it like that, because I just didn't. And to have other people's eyes, younger eyes, older eyes, it doesn't matter whose eyes they are. But if those eyes see something that you don't, you need to pay attention.
Exactly. So I like to throw every now and then, throw some in. And anything else that I missed that you want to bring up real quick before we wrap this up?
And I don't know about you, but I love Wu-Tang Clan, and they ain't nothing to mess with. They are not anything to mess with.
Well, you're from the East Coast. Let's just start there first. So
I'm
that's
from the
why.
East Coast.
Yeah,
I am from the East Coast, born and raised West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my. No.
There you go. I love it.
but for real, yeah, man. I want to talk about Game Crafters Festival, because the Wu-Tang Clan will be in the house, and I am going to be hosting it.
I met Ghostface a couple of years ago. He's into esports as well. So,
well, they all played video games. Didn't they have their own fighting game at one point?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Or they were in games. Remember Def Jam Vendetta?
Yes. Yo, Def Jam Vendetta.
2 or 3, if not 4 or 5 Wu-Tang members in that game alone.
They just had an anniversary. It was a 25-year anniversary of that game the other day.
Def Jam. Yes, indeed. Well, one of my favorite fighting wrestling games of all time. Oh, yes. I had
great game. You could throw a dude into a jukebox.
Yes, between the jukebox and resetting the beat. Because remember, you could stop the beat.
Oh, that's right.
And then slam them down, and then all the beat would reset. Oh, yeah. That was another game that I thought I was pro at. Well, we'll find it. We may never know. I don't know.
So, Independent Gaming Festival, right? Isn't that dope? It's called Game Crafters Festival. It's happening on October 26th, right here in Vegas. Wu-Tang Clan will be there performing. Awesome. Also, Eli Harris, the great voice guy from Call of Duty and all other names, he's going to be going against hold on, let's do it properly. 1v1 against Supreme of Wu-Tang Clan. So Eli Harris versus Supreme from Wu-Tang Clan. That's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first year that they're doing. And the other thing, and we're going to get you involved in this, the other thing that's coming up, it's around the corner, man.
I like it.
Fight Circus, baby. If you have not seen what Fight Circus is on Instagram, my gosh, you're missing out.
Hey, y'all in the chat. Please go to Fight Circus. It's just at Fight Circus, right? In Instagram. Go to Fight Circus in Instagram and check that out. And they have a website. I think it's www.fightcircus. It might be just that, because I think that's what you sent me, Logan. So yeah, check that out. And I'll just say this, it's crazy fun. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's insane. Fun. And I can't wait to do it. They told me today they have 3 different characters that they want me to play. And I was like, bring it on, man. He's like, I've got costumes for you. We have an assistant that will be in charge. I'm like, let's go, man. They just did a show in Malaysia. 57,000 people were there.
They showed up to it, huh?
That's crazy.
They're internationally known.
And also known to rock the microphone.
There you go. I knew something was coming out of that. See, I knew something was coming out of that.
Little Rob bass in your face. I just say.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We had a little question here.
Let's go.
Oh no, we had one guy, Super Ryan says, he said he said, I don't do casting, but I do production. And for a lot of new casters, sometimes I give them some of the notes. So when we were talking about the notes for casters earlier. So yeah, it's always people behind the scenes grinding it out. So
isn't that the first thing you learned when you stepped off the field? How many actual people there are behind the scenes? Because there might be 2 to 5 people on camera, and there's a good 50 to 100 people supporting them. Even at ESPN, the Jack Show had 9 interns.
Yeah. And it's like, because I learned that going to my first or second NFL. No, it was my first NFL broadcasting boot camp. And I was at the NFL Network studios in LA, and we had a production meeting, and I'm like looking at all the people that were in it. It was all the players, the former players that were going to be on stage. Then it was all these other people that I saw in there, and I'm like, I asked the question. I said, who are all the other individuals in the room? Oh, those are the statisticians. They give you that information to know what the yards per carry is for hypothetically Emmitt Smith or whatever per game. I'm like, because I'm like, there is no way that all the commentators could remember all those stats. I was like, unless they're a computer. Well, some do. Some have a special power that can remember.
Some are
stats.
very good at that. Some
very
are
good at it.
Generally, there's a kid standing next to him with a note card.
Exactly, and that's what behind the scenes for y'all in the chat to know that. Like a lot of commentators you watch on anything, even esports commentation, there's somebody behind the scenes that gave them that information if they didn't do it themselves. But I'll say for esports though, I think it's more self due diligence for us because we're newer industry. So for the older industry like traditional sports, so football, baseball, basketball, which you see on TV, now they got interns, they got quality control people, they got people behind the scenes. But for us, starting bare minimum in esports is usually us doing the work.
Oh yeah,
we're doing it. But if you get with a big production company, they'll have somebody to help you out, which is good. So to wrap this up, because I don't know what your day looks like in terms of time.
I'm okay. If you want to go a few more minutes.
Yeah. What are let everybody know your social media. I had a little bit of it put in there.
It is the Logan Summit Show on all social media. On the Logan Summit Show. Yeah.
Logan.
And tonight will be the debut of episode 6 of Technical Timeout on the UEL Esports YouTube channel. It's just that, UEL Esports, and it is 6 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 p.m. Eastern, and always available on video on demand, so you can check it out anytime you want at your own leisure. You're going over to your in-laws' house, sit in the other room and watch my show. You'll thank me in the morning.
There's the loudness there. And then last question here. What's coming up down the line? I know you kind of talked about some things you're doing already, but any stuff you want to add on to that to wrap this interview up?
Yeah, one thing that I want to do is I want to introduce more trading cards into esports, and I'm working with a couple people on that.
Very smart, smart. Ahead of the game.
Well, think about this. Topps just said that they're going to do a set of Garbage Pail Kids for the MLB. What if the UEL had Garbage Pail Topps cards as tradable? I mean, come on, we've got 200
That would be
players.
awesome. We got a lot of players. Dope? Yes, that would be awesome. And they deserve it. They deserve it. Those players are competing at a high level, just a high level as all the pros that are in leagues like Call of Duty and Madden leagues and Street Fighter and Tekken. So, and League of Legends and all the other games that are out there professionally. So yeah, they definitely deserve it. And I like that. Good idea.
And I'm gonna get back into a little bit more sports. We're gonna get more into the fighting game. Shout out to Happy Punch and Overt Flow and Keemstar. We're gonna be doing some things this year, hopefully, all over the place. Happy Punch is really taking off. They're doing their thing, and I'm happy to be a part of them as well. Look, I literally the one thing I want to leave everybody with.
Yes, please do.
Is don't say no to opportunity. Way too many times in this world, we say no, whether we're tired, we're being lazy that day, or we're just having anxiety over what the whole process could be, right?
Yeah.
But say yes. I didn't move 2,700 miles from Connecticut to Vegas to not come out here and get involved into every single thing that I can. When somebody invites me to something, I say yes. Somebody wants to shoot a video, I say yes. Want to be on a podcast? Yes. Want to do a cast? Yes. Say yes to opportunity. You only have to do it once. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. But try it.
Give it a shot. Always. You never, excuse me. Great advice there. You never know until you try it. That's something I've always lived and, lived by, in my life in terms of sports, after sports, after my NFL career, always jumped at something. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm a former NFL player, having a podcast that's about video games, but I still do my football stuff on the side. So it is always going to be there, but always trying something out new. So Logan, thank you.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah. What's up?
Right.
I love questions.
So last time, and we might have actually hit on this before in one of our other broadcasts, but it's a really interesting question, and I want to bring it up to you again. Last time I was at ESPN, Tiki Barber and I had a conversation, and the basis of that conversation was he believes about 25 to 30 years down the line, the NFL will cease to exist as we know it today, meaning it will take that long because parents will stop putting their kids into Pop Warner, which will then have them not be able to be in high school football, or maybe not ever get that opportunity because they'll be playing soccer or basketball or baseball or another sport. And then obviously college and then into the pros, the drop off comes. He says that flag football will be the future of the NFL. How do you feel about those statements?
I say definitely. I feel good about that because that's where, I mean, it's already in the Olympics and football is not in the Olympics. I say regular tackle football is not in the Olympics. So for us as players, that is a possibility because if they're already introducing it at the elementary school and middle school and high school level for flag football, boys and girls, and they're doing it already internationally, because I think last year the South American team, one of the South American teams, won the world championships of flag football. When you would think that would be our sport as a United States, but we didn't win it. We didn't win the gold at the world championships. And so in 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, they're going to have flag football as a competition for silver, gold, and bronze medals. So that is something that it could be there. It could be there. I'll say, but I know the powers that be in the NFL, they're going to work to make sure. That's why we're going international. That's why you see the London game, the Paris game, the Brazil game, things like that, Mexico City game. That's why they're going, because they know that the time is coming. It's this roller coaster of over 100 years of football may be coming to an end. And so to try to go internationally is a part of a effort to keep that going longer or forever. That's what's going on with that. So that's a good insight by Tiki.
I think so. Hey, LA will have flag football, but they will not have breakdancing.
Oh yeah, we already know that's gone. That's gone.
Michael
you know what? They're not gonna have breakdancing, but they're gonna have us. They're gonna have esports.
That's true. They are gonna have esports. But that chick, Michael Jackson did this in Thriller, and everybody went crazy. She does it in the Olympics, and they laugh her off of the stage.
It was unfortunate. I hope she's able to flip it around, and get some positivity out of that, for herself.
Nah,
I hope so. So if you got time, if you want to kick around with us, I have a few more segments of the show. I'm gonna give a shout out real quick to Sly, one of our sponsors here. So play is an essential part of life, whether it's digital or outdoors. Exploring the world is fun. Keep the good times rolling and support your play with Sly Boost, Sly Chill, or Sly Dream. So explore. Dr. Tom and his wife, Dr. Elsie, both two doctors.
Both doctors.
Dr. Amy, Dr. Tom and Dr. Amy, shout out to them. And Sly, they're doing big things. I'm doing it with them, just like my man Logan. So we're going to get into some quick hitting news bites, everybody. Let me turn up the volume up here. Get that up. And we got it. Here we go. Oh, man. So we got some cool stories here going on here. Let me get that off. So we got.
That made me want to watch The Last Dragon again.
Oh, yeah, that for sure. That was a good audio there. So we got Marvel and DC lose trademark for superhero. So I did not realize that the two comic book companies they were trying, or they trademarked the phrase superhero. Mm-hmm. So that means if you wanted to use it, if you was another comic book company or any company for that matter, you have to go to them and check in with them to say, can I use superhero? I did not realize that. I'm like, wait a minute, you got all these comic book companies in the world, and you got two of them that try to pigeonhole or trademark the phrases superhero. So in an article here, it says, reported by Reuters, DC allegedly threatened legal action and accused S.J. Richhold, the author of a comic book series called Super Babies, on infringing on its copyright. So the Super Babies brand retaliated, however, by saying in May that Marvel and DC cannot claim ownership over an entire genre. So trademark trial and appeal board of the United States Patent Trademark Office ruled that the Super Babies, after neither Marvel owner of DC or owner of Disney, nor DC owner of Warner Brothers, filed an answer to request to invalidate the trademark. So by establishing hero places in the public domain, we safeguard it as a symbol of heroism and available to all storytellers. So that's kind of a comment there that is from the small company that created Super Babies. So Super Babies attorney Adam Adler, Richmond Jorgensen, and for Freebird said that the move was not just a win for our client, but for a victory for creativity and innovation. And I definitely agree with that, because I'm like, this, I'm like, so they're trying to lock down like basically everything, because you hear superhero all the time.
Yeah. But isn't it a job? Superhero is more of a job. It's an occupation, isn't it?
Yeah, that too. And it's like, I didn't realize that they were trying to lock that thing down and like sue companies like this company here.
Well, it goes back to Pat Riley. It actually goes back to Pat Riley when he was with the Lakers, because Pat Riley,
was his hairdo or something?
No. Check this out. When they were about to three-peat, Pat Riley was one of the first people.
The three-peat. Yes, they used three-peat.
I remember the word three-peat. Now, The Rock recently trademarked SmackDown, Jabroni.
You got to. Yeah.
And Candy Ass.
I see why. Like, in terms of The Rock's case, right? That made him, from the fans following him, because I remember watching a little skit, a little bit that he did where he was, you know how they do on WWE, WWF. They have the walkout, and then they get to the stage, and sometimes the fight doesn't even go down. It's a mic, it's a conversation, and he's just humiliating somebody on the mic, and he just said all those words you just said, jabroni, candy ass, shut your mouth, whatever. And those are the things that those fans know, right? They know every wrestler's one-liner. It's on a t-shirt, it's on a hat or whatever. John Cena, he had his hand thing and it was on a hat. I remember doing an event at Super Bowl Houston where it was the Patriots and the Falcons, and John Cena did the event with me, and he had all his brand gear on that was like, you can't see me. So he had the hand on the hat and everything. So yeah, it's something that it's you create it and you make it yours, but to have something that describes it like superhero,
right?
Because for every book written, every story told, there's superheroes. So to say you control that genre, you're trying to monopolize that, is like, that was just such a shocker to me to see that.
It's crazy,
especially for companies like them too, Marvel and DC, where how they got started way back when in the 1930s and the 20s. So just interesting there.
Well, they're literally trying to take food out of other people's mouths that are just trying to get, like, what are they going to come after the boys next? Like, come on, settle down. Like,
it was just interesting, it was just
interesting.
It's like,
if they end up setting precedents on this, though, that's a bad thing. It's a good thing that Marvel and DC's presidents had better things to do.
Right. And it's good that this law firm stepped up, right, to challenge him. And I think that's me being a fan of the underdog. So this smaller company, Super Babies, that wrote this book called Super Babies, or comic book line, they're the underdog. So just because we're underdogs don't mean you can push us around. And I think DC and Marvel and Disney all got a lesson. They learned a lesson here, and what's funny, what's ironic about it, most of their stories are about the underdog. They're about David and Goliath, and it's mostly about David. There's when you hear stories that are written and seen from Disney, from DC universe, all that. So they kind of learned they learned a lesson from a story they have told and shipped out here and put on the big screen or on streaming apps, stuff like that. So I saw this and I read it and I was like, I say good job, Super Babies. So they definitely were super in defending their right to say, hey man, you can't do that. And we don't like, we know it's business, but you gotta not let our business, you gotta let our business grow.
Now, every time you say Super Babies, in my head, I hear the Muppet Babies theme song. Super Babies, da 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 da. Sorry,
I remember that. I used to watch that too. That was my show.
Muppet Babies was a dope show.
It came on right after Pee-wee's Playhouse on CBS. I remember that too. We're just dating our age right here, dog.
Yeah, that's okay, though. That's okay. I'm not getting in. Somebody asked me one time, they go, I noticed recently you started playing into your age. I go, well, I'm not getting any younger.
Right. I wish we could reverse time. I wish it was a comic book where we could do that and become young again and do some things. Because I would definitely be back on the football field showing guys, this is how I ran the ball when I had the opportunity to. I'll be penalized a lot. I'll just say that. As a running back.
Hey, you still got the most yards out of any Green Bay Packer ever, and that says a lot.
Yes, thank you. And you talked about how you present yourself, right? Like you ran across the one guy you mentioned his name, Danny something. or I can't remember his name, but you said that make sure when you present yourself, you say something that's going to catch their ears. And so when I do when I mostly do it on my cameos, but when I do a commercial for said sponsor, I'll say, hey, this is Ahman Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher. That's the first thing out of my mouth because people are going to know Green Bay. Then they're going to be like, then they're going to find out right away, oh, man, he's the Packers all-time leading rusher. Like, oh. So I got their ear. So for the commentators and for the people promoting themselves out there that's in the chat and watching the show. Excuse
and
me.
if I were you, by the way, I'd finish up with in a constant 97 in Madden.
right. I'll throw that in there because I got it since I'm in the esports space now. I got to have that in there.
Yeah, you do, right?
Yep. So the next article I brought up. So usually, I have a co-host. I have two co-hosts, Rico and John, but they're not here. But I'm gonna bring in one more article here. And as the title reads, Power Wash Simulator is good for mental health study finds. So let's read through this a little bit. I kind of looked over it. So I want to read to you guys some of the tidbits of it, where it says it's no secret Power Wash Simulator is not only a fun little title that several unique collaboration, but it also pretty relaxing. So did you know that playing Power Wash Simulator can directly impact your mental health positively? So that's exactly what a study led by Oxford University found out after 2 years of research. So the first reported by Eurogamer, the study was commissioned in 2022, analyzed data from over 8,500 players in nearly 40 countries, including US, United Kingdom, and other countries. The study housed on Steam Research Edition. And so at the time, Future Lab called it a one-of-a-kind anonymous research study controlled or centered around the well-being of Power Wash Simulator players, also aimed to deliver insights into larger discourse of gaming and mental health. So two types of data were collected, one based on around players' progression on the other, and the other was based on players' responses to questions provided by the researchers. So the results are fascinating. So take a break and power wash. So the research study shows 72% of players reported being uplifted in an uplifted mood when engaging in Power Wash Simulator. So according to the Oxford University and Future Lab, gamers consistently reported higher mood after the first 15 minutes of the play session compared to the start of each session, Logan in chat. So for me, I had just mentioned this last week on my show where when I was playing ball, if I had a bad game and we lost, so we could have a bad game and I not have a bad game, that could happen too. But when I had a bad game and we lost, so it was double down, I would go home and basically play GTA all night long. It was something about GTA or any RPG that would kind of bring me back, take that little sting in the back of my throat or the back of my body or my knee or whatever that with injury I suffered during a game, and the mental anguish of knowing that I'm messed up and I might have been part of my team losing. Playing a video game got me where I could then wake up and want to go out the house and be like, all right, it's the next day. It's okay. We made a mistake. Hey, that's just life. So I know you're about to say something.
Well, I just can't believe that we've gotten to a place where we are literally paying to do chores. They're tricking us into doing chores. I mean, dude.
Oh, you talking about with the game?
Yeah. I mean, you want to power wash something? Come on over, bro. Come on over. I got you can power wash all day long.
That's hilarious.
Power wash. You want to paint? Come on over.
But I'll say this. For a person that I enjoy cleaning up my house, and I just took my wife's truck to get it cleaned up, and oh my God, it was such a joy. And I do my truck too. I kind of get a lot of like a relaxing feeling coming through my body. Now I get what you're saying. I love the comedy behind what you're pulling up here, because they have, if we're going to go down that road now, you have Power Wash Simulator, you have Car Wash Simulator, you have Fireman Simulator, and you have Lawnmower Simulator. And I think they have
that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Lawnmower Simulator.
So they have Lawnmower Simulator.
Go mow a lawn.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
Make $20. Come on.
I don't know if you knew that, but yes, they do. They have Lawnmower Simulator out along with Power, and it came out before Power Wash Simulator. Because I've always talked about any simulator game that came on, especially the Fireman one, was interesting because you basically, obviously, you learn how to be a fireman. Other than the physical part of it, I mean, watering down a house because it was burning, yes, you could turn that, but you didn't go through the physicalness of having to carry people up staircases or down staircases to save their lives or anything like that. That was the only thing that obviously couldn't happen. Unless it's VR, then that might be a whole nother story.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there, Brian. Right there. Police Sim. Yeah. Well, you can play GTA.
I know a real cop here in Vegas who plays a cop at night on a GTA cop sim. What? I mean, it meta inside a meta with a side dash of meta, opening up a sandwich with some meta on it. I don't like, dude.
Yeah, it does sound like a vegetable
enough that you had to be a
something.
cop in Vegas all day. You want to come home and police GTA at night? No.
Oh, he was doing that in the game too?
Yeah.
He was arresting people?
He was a cop in the game. They're playing that whole role play thing.
I say, if he's doing that in it's farming simulator too, as Brian mentioned here. So I say he got to be careful in GTA because now it's online and they got RPGs. People got 50 cal sniper rifles. You can't be messing around with anybody in GTA. They will light you up, but in the video game sense. All right, just keep it there in the video game sense. So yeah, but I think exactly in game stuff. But I say for Power Wash Simulator, and they doing that, actually having the forethought, right, to plan this ahead, because this happened in 2022, and the game came out around that time. I think in 2023, the first part, right after. So I think the game came out after the research, so that was good forethought for them to find out, what that looks like, what the data. And that what gets us coming in, right? If we find out the data on something first, you're like, oh man, I might do that. I might consider that. So you're looking at 70%, 72% people of the players felt better playing Power Wash. So that just says a lot about. And then I say that's just good light on the gaming industry when you have games like that, which is a ton of them. You got Flight Simulator that started the whole process, and then just went on from there. The fire truck, like I mentioned, Goat Simulator. I watched my niece play Goat Simulator. One of my nieces, and oh my god, she has so much fun playing Goat Simulator, bro.
Simulating being a goat? Is that what we're doing, or are we herding goats?
Yes.
What are we doing there?
That is so you're a goat, and you just walk. You just walk around the city and do what you want. You basically could do what you want. You could paint your goat any color you want. You could put hats on it, dress it up, and you just jump around, fly if you want. You're doing literally anything you want as a goat, though. You're controlling this goat that could jump. It could go to the store and grocery shop. It could fly an airplane.
It doesn't have pockets. How is it going to pay for anything? The goat doesn't have pockets.
It's a goat. It's no monetary stuff. Like, yeah, exactly. You're dead on. They had no pockets in their fur, so they could just go in the grocery store, get it, and come out. They might.
I like it.
And the popo don't come for them. So there you go.
Not much different than some of these grocery stores down here these days.
Yeah, exactly. And you're in Vegas too. So yeah. You got to be careful down there. So as the article reads on, so you can go head over to thegamer.com to pull up this Power Wash Simulator article to read the rest of it and get more of the statistics and data they found out there. And it just, for me, I wonder what other games have they done that to, had a science project behind it to then test out people playing the game. I wonder what the testing rating of what people when they play their favorite game, like if it's Call of Duty, like for Call of Duty players. I want to know what that looks like. What you think that the over under, if Power Wash Simulator is 72%, Logan, what's the over under on Call of Duty players after they're done playing it of how they feel, if they feel uplifted or they feel
there's like two people on the planet that feel uplifted by playing Call of Duty. Okay,
exactly.
The one's irrational, and the other one's the person who beat him. Look, no one feels good about. I shut game chat off when I play Call of Duty.
I put my headsets on mute. I put my headset, and even lately playing Madden too. When I beat a guy, I just put my headsets on mute. I'm just like, these people don't know how to talk. They're being real ignorant right now.
Yeah, man. Everybody's like, well, how do you make friends online? No one has ever made friends by turning game chat on COD, okay?
unless you were already with your friends. That's it.
Yeah, that's one thing. But turning game chat on and just allowing, look, video games, playing in game chat for video games is like standing in the middle of New York City and engaging with each and every single person that walks by you. Most of those people are not going to be good people. Okay.
No. And yeah, that's big city attitude right there. You just gotta have common sense. That's what my mom would say. Just use your common sense, baby. Just do that. All right. Next segment we got is a real quick and fun segment on here. Logan, you'll love here. The best thing I've seen on social media. So let me get to the intro of that.
You're so dumb.
Got him. Ain't nobody got time for that.
All right, the best thing I've seen on social media, and I found two. Again, like I said, I'm running solo, so I gotta bring in more. And so let me make sure the audio is gonna work for this. Hopefully, let's see. I'm gonna bring it up. Let me see. Do I hear it? Okay, no, I gotta unmute it real quick. There it is. All right, let me turn that down. Let me bring it in. All right, I found this on Instagram. It's kind of loud, so it's going to drown you. Let me turn it down. See if I can turn it down a little bit here. Where is there? Oop, there it is. See if I can bring the volume down just a tad bit. So this is Fortnite. Was it Fortnite Mirrors? Came out.
This one will be on October 5th. And the second one will happen at the end of the season. Are you guys excited for this year's Fortnitemares? Fortnitemares is finally back. Fortnite just had an iconic collab with The Incredibles, bringing in Mr. and Mrs. Incredible and Frozone. But we got more coming with Fortnitemares. We are getting another iconic Marshmallow collab, but we are also getting Leatherface and Saul this month to get us ready for the spooky season. We're also getting Shaq in the game, with Pumpkin King and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas also making its way to the game. We'll be getting new mythics this Fortnitemares. A new explosive one called Boom Billy. This will spawn a bike with 100 HP that follows the target, then explodes. And if it's chasing you, you're also going to hear this.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
It is also rumored that we might have a couple of Halloween-themed POI. On top of all of this, we will be getting 2 new live events this month. The first one will be on October 5th. And the second one will happen at the end of the season. Are you guys excited for this year's Fortnitemares? Fortnitemares is finally back. Fortnite just had an iconic collab with The Incredibles, bringing in Mr. and...
So what do you think of that, chat, Logan? You got Incredibles, you got Michael Myers, you got the Saw puppet going on in Fortnite for Halloween edition DLC. What you think?
I gotta tell you, I saw something that's even better than that. The creators of Tekken have reached out to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they have asked for the Colonel to be an active, playable character in Tekken. I think, look, as cool as I know it's spooky season and all that, and as cool as all that is, I want to play the Colonel. I mean, what's he going to sprinkle the 11 secret seasonings on them?
11. Is it 11 or 12 secret seasonings?
11 or 12, I'm not sure. Something it might be the baker's dozen. Who knows?
Exactly. Interesting. So yeah, that's Fortnitemares. That's one thing I found. But then the next one. So you know me, I work out a lot. I watch my nutrition. So I found this video here of this guy. When you say, like, I say, don't miss out on leg day, man, but don't overdo it either. So my man, he took the leg day to a whole nother extreme where he could barely walk out of the gym right now. Okay. Oh, hold up. I'm sorry. I don't have it up. There we go. I'm sorry. I didn't flip it.
He did legs for 3 hours.
So he worked out on his legs for 3 hours. He can't even walk out of the gym. Don't do this to yourself, y'all.
Oh, you good? Huh? You good?
Please don't.
Oh, you doing that shaky.
Yeah,
he did legs for 3 hours.
You're doing the shaky, all right.
Oh, buddy, you hit the legs today, huh? Oh, my boy. You all right, boss? Thank you. Boss, you good? Huh?
Please don't do. Now I say do leg day.
You doing that shaky.
Do leg day.
He did legs for 3 hours.
You gotta put a limit to this, Logan, right? Chad?
Oh yeah. That's stupid. That's insane. Look, at the end of the day, you have to be able to walk on your legs or they're not useful.
Oh my God, that was amazing. It says yes. Oh, it was 12 piece. Was it 12? He's going to hit you with a 12 piece. Oh,
there you go.
Villanux. Super Ryan says, "Nah, I want the Colonel in Mortal Kombat." Oh yeah, he's already in Tekken, or this. Tekken already made the deal with Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah. So Mortal Kombat. The reason,
right?
Well, the reason why Super Ryan wants that is because they haven't closed the deal yet. They just reached out.
Okay.
The reason why he wants it, the Colonel in Mortal Kombat, is so you can finish him. And then the Colonel will get a finishing move, which, I mean, come on, there's a million different things we could go there. He can take off the bolo tie and choke you with it. Come on.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there's just so many things that you could do that you would want to do with it. All right, next segment here. We're flying along with the rest of the show. Been a great show, Logan, man. Thank you for coming on again. We got our game release of the week here, and it's a fun game. And it's a game that everybody loves, this guy, SpongeBob. Let me get to the video. Let me get to the video here. Share my screen. And there it is.
What a beautiful day in Bikini Bottom. No storms or other natural disasters in sight. There's nothing and no one its happy citizens should worry.
I like the music there.
Good morning. Well, maybe there is someone.
Maybe.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, let's go.
Yeah, Pat.
Excuse me, coming through.
Here, so it's SpongeBob SquarePants, a Patrick Star game here coming out on Friday, October 4th. It's on all platforms, including PC as well. Let's turn the volume down a bit.
Oh, come on. Turn it out to the
There we go. So we got Patrick got his own game now, y'all. Chat, Logan, what you think of this right here?
Patrick definitely deserves his own game. And anytime SpongeBob puts their IP on something, it goes absolutely ballistic.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just a money grabber, by the way. The reason that they're able to do this is because recently the SpongeBob.
We've talked about that before in some games.
Yeah, the creator, he passed away, and one of the things, he had always said, "While I'm alive, you're not going to do anything." Well, guess what? He doesn't. Now that he's not with us anymore, they can do whatever they want with the IP, and they have.
Right.
Luckily, if you're a SpongeBob fan, most of it has come with everybody's been rejoicing the stuff. They've loved it. So
maybe there is someone.
I'm down to play it. What about you?
Oh, I'm down to play it. It's a kid's game. I got a granddaughter, that might could get into this, and my friend who has a young kid too. He also is into gaming a little bit. Would definitely introduce them to him. But yeah, for the fans out there, yes, this is something I could see them doing. Thank God it's on Switch, where we know Switch, Nintendo don't raise up the price too much. They keep it in the $50 to $60 range, which is very smart. And they know their niche, and obviously they have a whole new system coming out this year too.
They do.
So obviously they're gonna have a good time introducing that to the crowd of new fans of whatever that console is going to be called, to the memory of that and everything. So to see Patrick getting his own game, I'm super excited because he's a sidekick. We are just talking about sidekicks and underdogs earlier in the show. So there you go. Yep. So this game, let me see. I was pulling up my script here. So it says, check out SpongeBob SquarePants and get ready to explore Bikini Bottom as a sandbox playground using various objects to create physics-defying fun. SpongeBob SquarePants Patrick the Game will be available. I mentioned that already. So it features missions from beloved characters SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Plankton, and includes iconic locations such as Glove World, The Dump, Demolition Derby. Activities range from building Krabby Patties to causing chaos in Mr. Puff's Rage Room. So there you go. Where I'm in, Patrick.
The Simpsons hit. By the way, the Simpsons Hit and Run just had the 25-year anniversary, and they keep coming out with these video games based on cartoons. I'm gonna need a remake, at the very least, a remake of those Simpsons games. Those were really cool.
Yeah, those are good games. Those are classic because it was classic arcade cabinet games right there. So yeah. So be Switch, and you might want to pause on it if you don't have a Switch and you're thinking about buying one. You might want to pause on it unless you want to have unless you're a collector like myself, because Nintendo has a new system coming out for holiday season this year too. That's been mentioned. That was mentioned back in the spring. So make sure you hold your horses if you want to save your money for the new system coming out. So just be mindful of that. All right, so we are done there. Oh, so how much time you got left that you can be on?
I almost got to get out of here. How much more time you got?
No, I got a couple more things to do. I think I have one more thing, but I want to let you go. I mean, unless you. Oh no, this is the boys. I'm about to go into the boys.
Oh well, let's do that. I got you.
I got it. Let me get set up for it real quick.
I love the boys. I mean, what a crazy ride that show is.
That's the only thing that describes that show is crazy.
And if you have kids, for the love of God, don't let them watch it.
Please
don't.
They got to be over 21. Over 21. Okay, folks. All right. And this is the season finale of season 4, episode 8. So I'm going to run the video here and then have it in the background. And so as we start from last segment or last episode, last episode, man, it was so much chaos going on as usual. So Starlight has been cloned, kind of. It's a shapeshifter. That's her. So that's not the true Starlight right there. That's the clone, or somebody who is a shapeshifter, excuse me. And Huey doesn't know this. He hasn't picked up on it yet, but he does. As the episode goes on, he starts picking up on things that this shapeshifter starts to do that's unlike the original Starfire. So the one thing is they always get a chance to have their good adult time. You know how I try to make things PG, Logan, like I said earlier. So they get to have their adult time.
Post-coitus time.
There you go. They have the 10-toe wrestling match going on there. So, but the shapeshifter goes to the real Starfire, she has her tied up and in a dilapidated house, wherever, to keep her from. She is the go person, because where we're at, Logan, and anybody in the chat that has not been to the stream, the election is about to happen. And so with the election going on, they're about to pass the laws that protect soups and then create a soups police squad. That's what Homelander has been devilishly putting together behind the scenes, is to where the politicians support him being like the head chief of all the superheroes that can police the world. And it's like, oh wow, you want the superheroes in the boys to be then policemen of planet Earth? Oh man, that's crazy and messed up, because we know Homelander is not right. And so where Huey, Mother's Milk, Mariko, Butcher here, who is dealing with the brain cancer, this is their whole mission, is to shut them down. So right now, it's just all the loose ends being tied up. You know, right now, Butcher is going to sit here and come to the notion and his realization of, you know what, I got a cancer growing in my brain. And that's why I'm seeing this guy. So Logan, this guy that's on the screen talking to Butcher, that's a figment
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, baby.
Yes, great actor, right? But it's a figment of his imagination because of the brain cancer. And so he's hallucinating these people. He's hallucinating his ex-wife as well. And so with that, he makes a decision, you know what, I'm going to sit on the sideline while this one goes down, because of where he's at in his medical state. And so that's where, I can't remember, one of the lieutenants of the FBI is trying to talk him out of it, but he's like, no, I've done enough. My body's telling me, look, I got to sit this out. And so now this is election time. Homelander is on the stage. I think it was last episode where he outed Victoria, who was a politician, soup, in hiding. And so he outed her right here in this scene. I think it was this scene. Yeah, this scene here. He outs her that she's a superhero. He even uses laser eyes on her. And of course, as powerful as she is, it doesn't hurt her. And it's like, oh crap, everybody knows now that I'm a super. So she doesn't storm off stage, but eventually she leaves the stage, and everybody, the cat's out the bag that now we know this politician Victoria is a soup. So she's on the phone calling her family, to get her daughter out of harm's way. And we got Homelander here basically trying to say to her, look, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. We got this all figured out. and basically I'm in control now, which for Victoria is like, and anybody saying that Homelander's in control, we already know, wow, you're in a bad situation if Homelander saying he's in control of anything. So with that in mind, she's like, obviously doesn't trust him and trying to get her family, her daughter in particular, to safety, basically, with everything going on now. The cat's out the bag. So that's where we're going here. The whole world knows now that Victoria, that was I believe the Democratic representative, is now a super, because it was supposed to be no supes at the political level. You know, they wanted still to be controlled by humans. And so from that, her incumbent rep that was running against her, I can't remember his name now, but he's making a statement. He's also in a bunker protecting himself, because now the supers have taken over. So this is where Homelander, and he gathers up all the supers, the supes, and starts policing the world instantaneously, basically, as I say. So as soon as that scene went down with Victoria being outed, Homelander basically called all his buddies and said, hey, y'all, we got it now. We in control of planet Earth. So we go arrest these guys. So Huey, Mother's Milk, they basically fugitives of justice, because they obviously been trying to stop the Seven and stop any superheroes that have been villains, that have been bad, that have been killing people just because. So this is a point where they're protecting the president here, and at the same time trying to figure out what's their next move down there in the bunker. And then Firecracker and Homelander here are basically working together. That's her. I mean, Logan, it was a
I already know what's in that cup.
Okay,
I know what's in the
good.
cup, bro.
Okay,
I've
good.
seen
Thank
it.
you.
I've
Good.
seen it. I know what's
I saw
in the
it,
cup.
man. I was like, what in the Frestos did I just watch here? So, okay, good. I didn't have to explain that. Thank you. So this is the Seven going through their meeting of what they're, who's going to take over, who's going to command what area, who's going to police what area. So of course you got the Deep, who's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and so he's having a conversation with him, letting him know, hey, this is what we're going to do. We got to basically take everybody out that's in this building, because that's what we're going to do. We're bad superheroes. So so you talk about superheroes here, what we're talking about earlier is interesting. And so Ashley, she sees the do you know what hit the fan? And so she runs out and she injects herself with V, which I'm like, huh? So I didn't see that coming. So she injects herself with V, and then as you see, she just transforms into something not pleasantly to look at. Unfortunately,
it did not work out for the best. That was a bad decision.
That was a bad move on Ashley's part. And again, Mother's Milk and the team are down in the bunker, one of the bunkers, but not realizing that the shapeshifter is Starfire right next to them. And that's where she starts to freak out, because she has a temperature problem with the shapeshifting, and she doesn't rejuvenate fast enough. She overheats. So that's where Huey's already he's already on notice, because some of the things she's done before this scene, but now he really knows, okay, this is somebody else. This is not my Starfire. So we got to figure out something, because she's going to try to take the president out, or the guy who's running, to bring back power. And then Huey brings in Mother's Milk to the conversation. So they both know that's not Starfire. And we got to handle her, because she's strongest. You know what? She's a super villain. And so they get at it here. It's going to be a little fighting, but there is no nice little fight. It's more she kicks everybody's butt that's down there in the bunker hideaway. And then, but thank God for Mariko, who she has regenerative powers, so she could get hit and keep moving. So she does help with getting away from Starfire in that instance. The Starfire clone or shapeshifter, as they're trying to run the other politician out there. So we have some semblance of a government. So they're trying to save him before the bitter end coming up for the end of this episode here. So they're doing all this to making sure they don't go to a bigger, serious, more war against all the supes at the end. So that's why there is a season 5 coming up, because in season 5, obviously, it's going to take off from this point moving forward. But finally, Starfire does make it out of the holding where she was being handcuffed. Logan and Chat, she makes it. She takes out the shapeshifter, and then Victoria now has her daughter. She's calling on her phone, talking about getting her daughter where she's at. And then things get a little, I say, crazy again. She is talking to Homelander there, But it gets crazy again in a few scenes that's about to come up here where it's the crew. When I say the crew, it's Homelander, it's Huey, it's Mariko, it's Frenchie, and then it's a few other, I think, superheroes that come in the room, and somehow Victoria and her daughter, they don't make it. It's crazy. You know, it's going to be up here in the next couple of scenes here, but this is them trying to figure out what's their game plan next. And as they bring Victoria in, make sure she's all a part of it, which she is, because she wants her daughter to have a future, because obviously with the future of superheroes taking over the planet, her daughter may not have a future because she'll be trying to defend for her life, basically. So in this next few scenes, you see it where I didn't even think that anybody could beat Victoria, but she gets taken out. And so I know you got to run, Logan. So if you need to run, if you got any comments to add in real quick, but also I want to say thank you for coming in the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Make sure that you go to The Logan Summit Show on any platform. The Logan Summit Show on any platform. That's how you'll find me. And of course, I am available tonight and each and every single Wednesday on the UEL Esports YouTube channel for Technical Timeout. And it's always available on video on demand. The Logan Summit Show. At the Logan Summit Show. That's where you got to go. Make sure you put the in there and then Logan Summit Show, and you'll find me. Thanks for having me, Ahman.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Logan, have a great rest of your weekend and talk to you soon.
Take care.
Yep. See ya. And so let me put the in there. And so as you see, wrapping up with Frenchie and Mariko, I knew that was coming. They finally got together, because they're always hanging out with one another, and now they're gone. Now they're finally together. But Butcher, he gets to see his son, and but like I said, the last telling of it is it gets gruesome. It finishes in the boys' way of a lot of blood and guts everywhere in this season finale of an episode. So as we know, people that are still living and kicking, I believe Huey, Mariko, Frenchie from our side, and maybe Butcher survives. I know the lieutenant here does not survive. She not letting Butcher's son go because he's part of this little takeover or hostile takeover. And of course, he's a growing kid that's always been trying to become himself. And he's like, I don't want to do this. You're gonna make me do this. And that was the wrong thing she should have said to him. And so he bounces her off the wall here in a few seconds here, which obviously kills her because she's fragile human as we are. And he's a soup and he has powers. And so she loses that battle, unfortunately. So a lot of death, a lot of arraignment. You can see her right there, cracks her. I think he pushed her into a wall and cracks her neck, which is like, God, dog. He had it in him. So, like I said, again, this is for everybody's livelihood in this episode. And so we'll see in episode 1, season 5, whenever that hits up, probably next summer, I'll be breaking that down too, because now Butcher comes into the room here. And this is the scene, like I mentioned, with Victoria and her daughter, where they're all like, what are our next steps going on? Everybody's, arguing back and forth with what we want to do, what we shouldn't do. And eventually Butcher says, you know what? He walks in the room. He's took some V to heal up and then become another monster and rips apart Victoria here, where you about to see her, she pulls her apart, blood and guts everywhere. And Frenchie was going to shoot him, obviously, but couldn't because it's his boy. They work together. And so, but yeah, that's the bitter end of season 4, season finale, episode 8 of The Boys. So check it out in full length on Prime. It's a good series. Crazy. Like I said, only adults to watch the show, please. Only adults. No kiddos. Don't give no child of yours trauma of any nature by watching this show. They're gonna have the whole superhero thing between the name and rights of something to then like, this is not a superhero show. This is something else. Don't do that to your child. Please don't. So Logan, thank you for you staying in. I thought you were jumping off. So I appreciate that.
You had me on screen, so I didn't want to leave.
Oh no, you could have bumped out. Yeah.
But if I leave, then all right.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, you got to go. I'll leave.
I was taught not to do that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it for you. We can do it for you. Boom. Oh God. Thank everyone for coming in. And I do have, because I gotta get going. Gamers tip of the day here. Hold on, let me get set up here. I do have another gamer tip. I love these tips, letting y'all know stuff that I've learned. Gamer tip of the week here. Let me get Logan. Wait, Logan. Respect other players and foster a positive gaming community. So actually, I'm gonna put that up there and that there. Wait a minute. Done and done. There we go. And so what that means, we were just talking about it earlier today on the show here. So if you're in a chat, right, and you have people saying everything under the sun, crazy things, even if it's a team where it's a random lobby, I mean, you got 4 or 5 players that are your teammates. You know, you're playing Call of Duty, you're playing Halo Infinite, you're playing League of Legends. And of all those 3 games, all of them, it happens where you got somebody in the chat just disrespecting everybody. And so be the player to be like, hey, man, you need to chill that out. You know, don't fight fire with fire. Don't start throwing obscenities at that person either, because fighting fire with fire, everybody gets burned. If you heard that before, just say, hey, man, hey, look, we're trying to play and have fun. I don't want to hear that. And if not, just leave the lobby. Just say, hey, you know what? If you want to talk like that, you can play by yourself. I'm out. And I think everybody else will probably leave out the lobby if you got a bad apple sitting in your lobby or sitting in your team that's just talking gibberish, crap, saying ignorant and disrespectful things. Just leave that. And then once you leave, try to get their gamer tag so you can report them. So this is one level, because if you don't say nothing, they're going to continue to do what they do. And every lobby that goes south, because there's going to be a lot of lobbies where you lose a game with the random squad that you're with. You know, that's one where you say, you know what, let's play a lot with my friends. You know, and if you play with random lobbies, be ready for it, but then also be knowledgeable of what you need to do to put an end to it. Report them on Xbox, on PlayStation, and I believe on some PC games you can report people in after a match. You can just grab their gamer tag and then set up the report. I know Xbox is real easy. It's about 4 or 5. It's about 2 to 3 clicks between picking out what they said. You could type in what they said and hit send, and then boom. And then Xbox, PlayStation, Sony, they handle the rest of it. And especially if it's in person, same thing. You don't want to be sitting next to people where it's just disrespect going on. So respect people like you want to be respected. Talk to people like you want to be talked to. And I'm pretty sure y'all heard this before. There's nothing new under the sun about how to respect others and how to respect yourself, and fostering a good gaming community, because that's all. At the end of the day, for video games and esports itself, we're all looking to have a good time. And we know if one person comes in sideways talking crazy, we either we don't play with them, or we say, hey man, we got to excuse you. We don't roll like that. Say something like that to them, because if you try to fight fire with fire, like I said, it never ends well. Everybody gets burned. So try to be more respectful back to that person, because then they might understand, you know what, I came in a little hot. I apologize, and they didn't understand the tone, the atmosphere in the room. They didn't read the room. They just came in hot. And so that's my gamer tip of the week. So hope you appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate y'all, everybody watching and everybody in the chat. Thank you very much. Had a great time talking. We went a little longer than usual, but sometimes a good show, that's where it goes. So hope everyone have a great rest of the week, and see you back here, same bat channel, same bat time. Ahman Green TV, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge, and follow, like, share on all the social medias. We're on TikTok, Ahman Green Gamers Lounge. We're on Facebook, Ahman Green. We're on Twitch, Ahman Green TV. We're on YouTube, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. We're on LinkedIn. This is on LinkedIn too right now, I believe. Is it? Nope, it's not. It's on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram streaming now, and all those places. Please follow, share, do all the fun stuff. I'll put all my handles right here for you. All right, because I can't get going. I gotta get my workout in. There we go. All right, Super Ryan. See you later. Peace out.
Row, row, row your boat gently up the... sorry. Excuse me. It's time for What's on Stream.